Does Hillary Clinton really want to be president? I don't think it's a question for Donald Trump. He clearly wants to be president, but for Hillary, the question can be raised. In this video, I'll talk about the reasons why I think each candidate is running. Let's consider the motivation of the two remaining presidential candidates. Donald Trump said on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 1988 that while he doesn't want to run for president, if things with our country got so bad, he wouldn't rule it out. He has a great vision, which has proven to be accurate time and time again. He said not to go into Iraq as it will destabilize the Middle East. He said if we're going to leave, take the oil, or the local groups can use the assets to rise to power, which has become ISIS. He said Brussels is a hellhole with areas under Sharia law that police don't want to go into. He said NATO is obsolete and it doesn't include terrorism, and it considers the U.S. economy as it was many years ago, but not now. Now, by being proven to have such great political vision, he has validated himself as a capable leader. Donald Trump is a multi-billionaire that really doesn't need to be running for president, going against left-wing superpowers like George Soros, Stephen Cohen, Henry Kravis, and the Clintons, who have basically unlimited funds to pump into smearing his name and his reputation. Yet he still decided to run for president. So why? A few possible reasons. Let's consider three. The first one, maybe he's just a narcissist and would like nothing more than to achieve the ultimate title of President of the United States of America as his legacy. Now, this is possible and could very well be the reason why he chose to run initially. But for this being the sole purpose for his motivation to run is hard to believe because he understands the media is controlled by the left and their tactics of demonizing Republicans as the bad guy, the racist, the bigot, the misogynist, etc., would leave his legacy with a poor reputation even if he did win. Let's consider another alternative, number two. Maybe he's just power hungry and he wants to be president so he can pass bills that would benefit his companies and make him even more money. Well, if this were the case, wouldn't he try to play the nice guy and get along with everyone and not blow out of the gate saying illegal immigrants need to be deported, things like that, something he knew would make a lot of enemies and cause a lot of endorsements to be dropped? If he cared about the money, he wouldn't have given up doing The Apprentice. He wouldn't have spent over $50 million of his own dollars campaigning, and he would be taking money from lobbyists and special interest groups. The third possibility is he is grateful to America and the American values of free enterprise, which have allowed him to be successful. And he wants to give back to this great country because he sees that it's going in the wrong direction. Now, following up on the statement he made to Oprah almost 20 years ago, he said if things got so bad with America, he would consider running to put the country back on the right track. In listening to him speak, he says things like, we as a country are getting ripped off in trade, our jobs going to other countries. Our military is using parts from junkyards to repair their planes. We're broke. We owe $20 trillion. We can't afford the current policies we have in place. His motivation to run is consistent with his statement to Oprah back in 1988. Now, let's look at the motivation for Hillary. When asked by Charlie Rose on December 1st of 2015 if she wanted to be president to make history being the first woman president, she said no. That would just be an extra added part of it. Then she went on to say that for this election, it actually will be one of those watershed elections where either we will get the economy to work for everybody or there will be increased inequality. She said we will either figure out how to live together despite our differences, show respect for women's rights, gay rights, workers' rights, or we'll have the balance of democracy shift to something else. Now, these are extremely generalized either-or scenario, almost canned sound bites, the kind of words politicians usually use to fall back on whenever they don't have a true response or would rather not say their true feelings about a subject. At Hillary's rallies, she only speaks from teleprompters, right? Never impromptu, which indicates that she may not be speaking from the heart. She's reliant on the words in front of her to speak. So what's her real motivation? Okay, let's consider a couple of options here, like we did with Donald Trump. One could be dynasty. I mean, this is a little bit like the narcissism reason previously mentioned about why Trump would be running. To keep the Clinton name in the history books as one symbolic of power. Related would be making history as the USA's first female president. I mean, although she denied that this is the reason why she's running, she did mention it would be a nice bonus, so it could possibly be one of her motives. The second thing to consider is maybe she's hungry for power and money. Again, being the president would give Hillary the power to pass legislation that would be in her best interest and could be used as a tool for financial gain. The Clintons are extremely wealthy, listed as being worth over $140 million. This is clearly enough money to sustain their family for generations. So do they really need more money? And with the whispers of corruption surrounding the sources of the contributions to the Clinton Foundation and things like that, which is the reason why they became so wealthy in the first place, really, does Hillary really want to be in the presidential spotlight and possibly further degrade her and her family's reputation? Well, since the model of offering kickbacks to the Clinton Foundation in exchange for favorable legislation has worked for them for so long, why would they fear exposure now or ever? So this could be a motivational factor in Hillary's desire to be president, but let's face it, the Clintons are getting older, they look tired. The energy level isn't really there for Hillary. Does she really want to continue doing this? Or is she just going along with what the people around her have suggested she do? Let's face it, the Clintons are extremely powerful, and the people around them have benefited from that power. Surely those people would clamor at the chance to see the Clintons maintain such strong political positions. And at the end of the day, politicians tend to do what they're told. How much of this campaign is political peer pressure, and how much is personal passion from Hillary? Is she really so eager to lead America for the next 4 years? To answer that, let's look at the amount of effort each candidate has put into each of their campaigns. So Donald Trump has done close to, if not more than 100 rallies across the U.S. over the last year, with each being at least 45 minutes long, usually going over an hour. He makes almost daily appearances on the news, Fox, MSNBC, ABC, late night shows. He tweets constantly about issues and always seems to have his head in the game. He says he sleeps about 5 to 6 hours a day and spends the rest of the time juggling his business and his campaign. He says that what little time he gets to spend with his family he cherishes. Trump speaks almost exclusively without teleprompters, an easy thing to do if you're speaking about things you're passionate about. The amount of times Hillary Clinton has done a news interview or a TV show is only around a dozen. She's done around 28 rallies by comparison to Donald Trump's 100 over the last year, and the majority of them are under 20 minutes long. When Hillary speaks, it's recital, not passion. Actions speak louder than words, and her speeches are always pre-written and recited word for word. The teleprompter was telling her that she should physically sigh, not say the word sigh. This mechanical recital of America's most important topics lacks passion, energy, and really shows a lack of motivation for Hillary to assume the role of presidency. So who would do a better job? Well, judging from the motivation level of each of the candidates, I think it's clear that Mr. Trump, however lacking in knowledge he may be, would certainly put more effort into his presidency. And I'll leave that for you guys to decide the rest. Thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe.